Welcome. Today here with us we have Mrs. Rosa Parks and Miss Harriet Tubman. We will be interviewing them in their past. What was the main reason why you chose to sit down on the bus?
After a long day of work, I was extremely tired and just wanted to sit down. So I did. But even though I was in my section for the colored, in the back of the bus, I was forced to stand up and have a white person take my place.
What was it like getting arrested for something that was so unfair?
I was arrested on December 1st, 1955, in Montgomery, Alabama. I was arrested because I refused to get up from my seat in the colored section for a white man. On the way to City Hall, after I was put in handcuffs, I was asking for my one phone call and very thirsty at the time, but the officer wouldn't let me get a drink because there was a nearby water fountain, whites only.
How did you feel being the first African American woman to get arrested for not giving up your seat?
Well, if you want to know the truth, I wasn't. Claudia Colvin was. She had been arrested 9 months before me on March 2nd, 1955.
Was it the first time for you being arrested and put into jail? Were you scared? What were you thinking?
Yes, it was my first time being arrested, and let me tell you, it was not enjoyable, especially if I didn't deserve to be there.
When you didn't stand up, did you intend to break the law?
Quite frankly, I didn't mean to break the law. I was just doing what I thought was right, especially after a hard, long day of work.
And now on to Harriet Tubman. What led your decision to rescue the slaves?
I decided to rescue the slaves because I was actually a slave myself. It wasn't fair for me and my fellow slaves at all, so I was just doing what I thought was right. How would you feel if you were belonged to a white who practically just bossed you around all day? Let me tell you, not fun.
How did you rescue the slaves?
This was no easy task. I led them to the northern free states into Canada by going through the Underground Railroad. The Underground Railroad was a network of secret routes with safe houses along the trail.
Did anyone call you by a certain nickname? And how old were you when you rescued the slaves?
Actually, yes. People called me by the name of Moses. They called me this because it refers to the prophet in the book of Exodus, who led the Hebrews in freedom in Egypt, and I was 31 years old.
Did you have any children?
Yes, but I only had one child, and her name was Girdle Davis, and I adopted her on March 18, 1869.
Did you have any fun facts you would like to share with me?
Sure, for one, I got married twice, I never lost a slave, and I was the first woman to lead to a combat assault.
Thanks so much for watching today.
Hi, this is Camille with your local newscast. Today I have a very special guest, Muhammad Ali.
Hey everyone!
What made you convert to Islam and change your name from Cassius Clay to Muhammad Ali?
Well, I was walking through the streets of Harlem one day and came across a skating rink. There was a newspaper on the floor that drew an image to my mind of a white slave owner brutally beating their slaves while insisting they pray to Jesus. After that incident, it made me want to convert to Islam, and with that change, my name to a common Muslim name.
Why did you want to become a professional boxer?
Well, it first came to me I wanted to become a boxer when my bike got stolen when I was 12. And with that, I wanted to become a professional boxer so, people could be somewhat scared of me.
Who was your first opponent, and did you think it was hard for you to box them? Why or why not?
It was a man named Tani Hunsaker. He was a police at the time and knew basic knowledge of boxing. So to answer your question, he was pretty easy to box since I gave him a black eye.
Who do you think was your hardest opponent to box?
Boxing legend George Trevelo was my hardest opponent because he never gave up easily. And all in all, he gave a good fight.
What move do you think helped you to demolish your opponents during the match?
My number one move to use when the matches get a little hard is the Phantom Punch. I used it first on my then opponent named Cleveland Williams and knocked him out fairly easy. And ever since that, I used it during any match.
What made you have different views on the Vietnam War?
To begin with, I didn't have the same view as everyone else did. I didn't want to serve on the grounds that I was practicing Muslim minister with religious beliefs that prevent me from fighting.
Why would you rather lose everything than support the Vietnam War?
The Vietnam War was a harsh war where thousands of people died, and I could not stand myself to be happy for what they are doing. So yeah, I could care less if they took my belongings.
Okay, that concludes our questions today. Thank you, Muhammad Ali, for joining us here and answering our questions.
Thank you for having me.
Hi, today we are with Thomas Edison. We'll be asking you a few questions. Mr. Edison, how hard was it becoming an inventor while being partially deaf?
It was definitely tough. I found a way around it and just tried to ignore it. In a way, it inspired me. Mr. Edison, how long have you been an inventor for?
I've been an inventor for 54 years, and I wouldn't change a thing about it.
Mr. Edison, how did you get your 1,093 patents must ever recorded?
I got them through inventing my inventions.
Mr. Edison, how is it having your own school named after you?
It is wonderful. It is a very wonderful thing, and I feel happy about it.
How hard was it creating your first motion picture camera? How impressed are you on how much it has advanced since then?
It has advanced very much back then than it was. Very hard using the materials from back then.
What was your first invention and when did you start it?
My first invention was the phonograph, and I was 30 years old when I started it. I made it in 1877, right after the light bulb in 1879.
Mr. Edison, how did your light bulb not catch on fire like all the other light bulbs had prior to yours?
There were 23 light bulbs made before mine, and all were disasters. The reason mine didn't catch on fire was my filament substance was a carbonized bamboo. Then I would use a smaller light bulb so I wouldn't be as bright.
Thanks for spending your time with us, Mr. Edison.
Hi, welcome back to History Figures Now. I'm Caitlin Lynn, here today with the astonishing Benedict Arnold, and today I will be asking him a series of questions about himself and the war. The first question is, what army are you in?
As of right now, I'm in the Continental Army. It was formed by the Second Continental Congress after the outbreak of the American Revolutionary War.
And who are you battling?
Myself and all 13 colonies are fighting Great Britain, and it just started to turn. We are now winning.
Now, who do you think has the advantage in this war?
Well, the British has a good standing army. We do not. The British has a well-established navy, and they have quantities of guns, powder, and clothing. We do not. And to make matters worse, they are very well trained.
When you predicted that the British would sail down and invade the Champlain, what did you first think to do and how did you do it?
When I was alarmed that the British was coming to us, I thought quickly and supervised the American flotilla and fleeted it away to another lake. Since I did that, I rescued the Patriot cause of a potential disaster.
Now, how do you feel you are getting treated? Is the credit you are receiving correct?
Actually, I think I deserve more credit. I've saved many lives and even got hurt with a very severe leg injury. After the part of the war ended, I went home and it turned out my wife had died. But I still came back and led the group. I almost ended up leaving though, because the Army was not giving me the recognition I deserved. But for now I'm staying, hoping to receive what I do deserve.
When were you fully considered an American hero?
People first started to call me a hero during the Battle of Saratoga. I took initiative and led the attack on British. They did not see it coming. And once they reacted, we kept fighting. But yet again, I injured my leg terribly. When I returned to the Army, they welcomed me back as an American hero.
When did you decide to become a leader of the British and why?
I remember the date was September 1780. It went from myself being an American hero to a traitor. At least that's what they as the people would say. I switched to the British because I got so frustrated by the lack of recognition. So I switched sides. And right when I did, the British didn't exactly like it. Although I later did the plot surrender of West Point.
Wow, thank you, Mr. Benedict Arnold, for coming on the show today. It's been a pleasure having you here. I'm your host, Caitlin Lynn, and thank you guys for tuning in to History Figures Now.